minus 10 minutes. Minus 9 minutes. Minus 8 minutes. Minus 7 minutes. Minus 6 minutes. minus 5 minutes. Minus for minutes. Minus 3 minutes. Minus 2 minutes. Minus 1 minute. Stand by.
How about that?
How about that? Yeah, it's a wacky Wednesday. Let's get her rolling. I feel like we're like a bucking horse trying to get out of a chute here today. Everybody's fired up. Everybody's in a good mood. It's Canada's favorite daytime sports talk show. We welcome 32 U.S. states tuned in as well here on Game Plus Television. On a new radio station, by the way, which we'll get to momentarily. Yeah, it's your boy RP here at the Golden Ticket Sports Center. Our very good friend Kevin the Medium riding shotgun today as Moose continues his duties at the Jeux Canada Games in St. John's, Newfoundland. Hey, Kevin the Medium. Good to see you, buddy. What's going on out in Cowtown today? Why can't I hear Kevin? Is that just me? Is that only me, Corey? Is his mic on mute? I can't hear you. Nor Corey either. Are you guys getting a hold of me? Listen, we'll get this sorted out, okay, Kevin the Medium? Wave at me, Kevin, if you can hear me. Wave at me if you can hear me. I can't hear Kevin either, says Carlos. Can you all hear me? Yeah. And I can't hear producer Corey. Hang on, everybody. Hang on. There, we did a sound check. 30 minutes ago. Kev, have you got me? Yeah, for some reason I can't hear Kev, but I'm going to open this thing. Kev, just sit there and look pretty, okay? This is a short opening segment, and we will figure this out after our first break. And Corey, text me if you need to, okay? I don't know, Kev. Sit there and smile, and we'll get this thing sorted out. Here's the thing. We can hear you, Rod. Okay. Kevin, we can't. All right. We'll get that sorted out. I can't hear Corey. I don't know where Corey is. Kev, sit tight, as I say. The Blue Jays are playing right now, as we get into the Quick Six Show topics. The Blue Jays are playing right now. They are at Pittsburgh, and they're wrapping up this series with a rubber match. As I said to Kevin as we were on the phone about 10 minutes ago, that's perfect because we will be able to talk about football, which is Kevin's jam. So everybody, you're going to need to help me out here in the opening segment with some viewer comments. And I'll tell you, the Western Dodge text line is open, 902-518-3033. Stacy's watching at Access World headquarters and says, the medium sure is pretty, LOL. So they're watching, Kev. Just stay and look pretty, and we'll get this sound thing sorted out. I don't know what. I haven't heard from Corey either. Scott in Vancouver says maybe he's on mute. Oh, I think we'll figure it out. I hope so. Carlos in Indianapolis says, I hear Rod just fine, but no Kevin. Chad Yanchicki writes in, he says, good morning, all. We can hear you, Rod, but not Kevin. So we will get this sorted out. At least I certainly hope that we do. So because the Blue Jays are playing right now, I said to Kev, I assume all the baseball fans are over watching baseball right now on Sportsnet with the Blue Jays at Pittsburgh. So we're going to open up with football, which is Kevin's jam. And I'll tell you right out of the gate, the poll question, because it's Wednesday, is what is Canada's game of the week? And Kev, I do have an assignment for you while you sit there and look pretty. I was reading the game notes just before we came to air, and there's some things I want you and the viewers to munch on. These are the questions. Why is scoring up in the CFL? Somebody asked that Friday after Jim Barker had adjourned. They said, why is scoring up in the Canadian Football League? I don't know what you're seeing, because there's a lot of reasons for that. You know, schemes, talent, weather conditions. I don't know. That's one thing. Number two, why are rushing yards down? We are at an historic low for yards per rush. I know this is super nerdy, as producer Corey says, propeller head football stat stuff, but it's also stuff that football fans really like to talk about. Scoring's up, rushing yards are down. Why is that? And here's another one. 77% of field goals are being made. 77%. That ain't good, okay? You don't need to be a kicker to figure this out, that 77% is not good. And I'm sitting here going, Number one, we watch these CFL games. Brett Lauther missed 3 field goals. Was it the last week or the week before? Either or. All the Rider fans are all upset. They want him run out of town. And Sergio Castillo missed a field goal last Thursday at a key time for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, which was returned for the touchdown and set up a wild ending. Why are the kickers missing field goals at an almost historic low? And think about this for a second. Scoring is up, but field goals are down. It doesn't make any sense, okay? There's that. And like they moved the hash marks closer together. This was supposed to help things, okay? This was supposed to help the kickers. Plus, they removed the chips off the football, Kev. Remember how much you and I had fun with that a year ago, or was it? No, it was just last year. The kickers were all upset. They put a microchip on the football. It's one side of it's too heavy. Chips gone, field goes down. And the other one that I know you're dying to talk about, and one of the reasons I love, for many reasons, having Kevin on the air, is that huge. Oh, I got Corey here now. Okay, is that BC? He's a BC Lions fan, and I want to talk to you about the BC Lions getting hot. There you go, the Lou Passalia jersey, as Brian Hall calls him, Lou Passalia. The BC Lions are getting hot, and this week they go into Toronto. And the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are getting hot. I know a lot of you don't probably agree with that, but according to the game notes, they're averaging 33 points scored over their last 3 games, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. So those are some things to talk about. As far as the poll goes, I haven't obviously had a minute to check the results of the viewers, but I got a pretty good idea what the pollsters are saying. Thursday, Winnipeg at Montreal. Friday, Edmonton at Ottawa. And a Saturday doubleheader, the BC Lions at the Toronto Argonauts in the Brayley Bowl, followed by the Saskatchewan Roughriders at the Calgary Stampeders in a game that I don't think has a name, but it doesn't matter. It's Roughriders Stampeders. So, and I saw Kevin tweeting this up. Kevin the Medium. You can follow him on Twitter at, what is it, Kev Hughes 64, I think, on Twitter, Kev. Kevin's talking about this being the highest attended Calgary Stampeders game in quite some time. Over 3/4 of the stadium sold at McMahon Stadium for Saturday afternoon game, 5 p.m. Local, 7 p.m. Eastern. John Ohm, writing from Winnipeg, says the CFL, crazy football. Yes, that is a fact. It is the crazy football league, the Canadian Football League. Scoring is up. Field goals are down. Rushing yards are down. These are just some of the oddities that I have pulled out of the game notes that we will get to when we come back with Kevin the Medium. I anticipate, and we'll keep rolling with a great football discussion. And I did crack the lid on the America's Team Netflix documentary. More to come here on Game Plus Television.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge. Big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Peterson Show. talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Peterson Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Peterson Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Peterson Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Peterson Show.
Famoso, Italian pizzeria and bar. Taste, savor, share. Famoso, the spirit of Italian. Come in, enjoy.
Nazareth's Canadian Farewell Tour is coming to Moose Jaw. Live at Temple Garden Center, October 17th. With special guest, Lee Aaron. Tickets on sale now at Temple Garden Center box office or sasktix.ca.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We're live on the Game Plus Television Network, and we got it. Producer Corey, you're good. Skycron's good. Kevin the Medium has said perfect timing. It's funny, Kev, you're with us. You said your computer did a reboot. Oh, you still don't have them? Oh, it said that you had that your computer did a reboot. I don't know. You guys may need to talk on the phone. I'm not sure, but we will get through this. Kevin's computer did a reboot. It's funny because just yesterday, we had the wonderful viewer, Ken in Mississauga, Ontario, write in and say, it's amazing that you can do a show with you where you are and Darren halfway across the country in St. John's, Newfoundland, and have it work out. And I'm like, isn't it amazing with technology? And here we are. Now, Kev, if you need to adjourn, I don't know if you are on your phone or your computer or what, but I'm going to have to plow on, and I'm going to have to I've given your cell number to producer Corey. You guys communicate, text back and forth. If you need to talk to each other, go ahead. If you need to adjourn, fine. And we'll look at the beautiful Lou Pasaglia jersey over your shoulder. But we're going to move on with no sound from Kevin the Medium here right now. The show must go on, as we say. So before the break, for those that have just settled in, you've missed a lot. My questions after reading the game notes in the Canadian Football League Week 12 game, some things stuck out. Why is scoring up? Scoring is up. The question is why. Actually, it's the highest it's been since 2008. Wayne in BC says if the teams score more touchdowns than field goals, they'll get more scoring, but the kickers are mostly down in their percentage of made field goals. Hey, trust me, I get that. I do. So field goals are down, scoring is up. It doesn't really make sense. Rushing yards down, blah, 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 blah. And then the BC Lions and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers getting hot. I'm going to move on. It's unfortunate because of the connection issues, but it is what it is. Kevin's computer, from what we understand, deciding to reboot at not an ideal time. So I'll move on with a few of the other things I wanted to discuss today. All-star catcher Alejandro Kirk had 2 home runs, 3 hits, and 3 RBIs, and George Springer added a 2-run home run as the visiting Toronto Blue Jays beat the Pittsburgh Pirates 7-3 Tuesday night. Jays starter Max Scherzer only allowed 1 run and 4 hits over 6 innings with 4 strikeouts. Kev, as you continue to fiddle with your computer, if you want to just blurt something out and see if your sound's working, let me know. Still can't hear you. Okay, still can't hear you. So it is what it is. I'm going to move on to this, and from the audience, take a swing at those stats and the reasons why, if you don't mind. This is funny. Jeremy from Winnipeg wrote in. Where is it? He says that Cowboys documentary is absolutely deadly. Wow. So it was Jeremy who yesterday said, Rod, if you got nothing going on Tuesday night, why don't you go watch that documentary on Netflix? Okay, no problem. Okay, gotcha. Producer Corey says he's on the phone with our people. We've got a frozen screen of Kevin while he gets his computer fixed. It could be worse. It absolutely could be worse. So, anyways, I didn't even know that this series was out on Netflix, which is odd because I've been watching the Any Given Saturday SEC football documentary. I've been 3 episodes through that. But tell me, folks, have you seen this? It's only dropped a couple of days ago, the Dallas Cowboys documentary. And Jeremy, tell me what you like about it, by the way. As I said, it's going to be a heavy football day today. We've talked a lot of baseball this week. And the Blue Jays are playing a matinee at Pittsburgh. So I feel like the football people are here. The football fans are here, and they want to talk about that. So we've gone through the CFL games already. As far as that Netflix series on the Dallas Cowboys, I'd love to know if you've watched it and what you think of it, and why, Jeremy, as a Kansas City Chiefs fan that you are, that you're as ensconced with it as you are, as a Chiefs fan. So it's in my commentary today. You can read it at rodpeterson.com or listen to it on Saskatchewan radio. The title of it is America's Team, the Gambler and His Cowboys. And I'm kind of getting a kick out of everybody, how everybody is so getting a kick out of my love-hate relationship with the Dallas Cowboys. In this Netflix series, Jerry Jones, it's all about Jerry Jones. It's barely, in my mind, about the Dallas Cowboys. But Jerry Jones is the Dallas Cowboys. So I thought I knew everything about Jerry Jones. I didn't know it all. Most of the things that I've seen so far through 2.5 episodes I knew. But Jerry Jones leveraged everything he had, I believe it was in the early 80s, to purchase his first oil well for $800,000. That thing turned into a $100 million gusher. Okay, I didn't know that. And he turned around and turned the proceeds from that oil well into buying the Dallas Cowboys in 1989. First thing he did was fire Tom Landry. The man who there is a statue of in front of the current stadium, AT&T Stadium in Dallas, Texas. That's the first thing he did. And the thing is, if you're a dyed-in-the-wool Cowboys fan like me, which goes back to 1990, I don't feel like I need to explain, or maybe I do with all the new viewers and listeners that we have, but I grew up on a farm. We had 3 channels. One was French, and we didn't have NFL football in Canada. So when I went away to college in 1990 watching watching all of the NFL, because my friends, and by the way, this was in Calgary, were all into the NFL. And the Cowboys were just starting to get good. Troy Aikman was there. Michael Irvin was there. Emmitt Smith was there. Jimmy Johnson was the head coach. And what this series chronicles is the rise of the Cowboys under Jerry Jones. And it's funny, I continue with the comments here if you don't mind. Jeremy writes in from Winnipeg. He says, I'm only 2 episodes in, but how about Charles Haley? Wanting out of San Francisco, goes to the GM's office, whips out his thing and pees on the desk. Said, this is how bad I want out. Oh, keep watching. There's way more that goes on with Charles Haley, who incidentally was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame a few years back, despite urinating on the GM's desk in San Francisco. What that tells me is people can, in fact, get over things. But it does take a long time. Ryan in upstate New York. Welcome, Ryan. If you just joined us, we're having issues with our co-host today, Kevin the Medium, but we're getting them worked out. And it's all going to be fantastic. Ryan in upstate New York says, I previously had no interest in this Dallas Cowboys docu-series on Netflix, but now I'll have to tune in. And it's not like I'm sitting here and as a commercial for Netflix. My God, they don't need me talking about them. But again, Jeremy said we got to watch this show, this Netflix series, and I'm 2.5 episodes in. Now, the other thing about Jerry, here's the thing, okay, why I get so worked up. Became a Cowboys fan in 1990. They won Super Bowls in 92, 93, 95. It was a great run and a good time to be a Cowboys fan. But it's been terrible ever since. And while watching this documentary, I can tell you that I haven't learned a whole lot that I didn't already know. For instance, Jimmy Johnson flies into Dallas to meet Jerry Jones about becoming the next coach of the Cowboys, and they go out for to a restaurant that they thought they could hide in because neither one was from Dallas, and they get photographed at the table, and it's in the newspaper the next day. Welcome to Dallas, Texas, and Cowboys football. Tom Landry hadn't even been fired yet. And as it turns out, it was Tom Landry's favorite restaurant. Scott in Vancouver writes in and says that Tom Landry is an iconic figure in Dallas, similar to Vince Lombardi in Green Bay. Now, are you starting to see a theme here? Jerry Jones buys the team. First thing he does is not only fire Tom Landry, but take Tom Landry's replacement, Jimmy Johnson, to Landry's favorite restaurant. It really did tick off a lot of Cowboys fans. He did not get off to a good start. Now, I could sit here and talk about this forever, this love-hate relationship that I talked about in my commentary, and I guess I will here with the absence of the availability of Kevin the Medium, our co-host, is these were good times. The first 2-3 episodes of the Netflix series, you're seeing it all, the good stuff. Everybody's getting along, and the Cowboys are winning. I know what comes next. Jimmy Johnson and Jerry Jones can't get along. There was a great story in the documentary because Troy Aikman is interviewed, Emmett Smith is interviewed, Michael Irvin's interviewed. They're all in it. Jimmy Johnson all sat down, did interviews for this. And what impressed me was at least these guys can all get along now years later. I thought about the Patriots. They're not doing any documentaries anytime soon. Okay, Robert Kraft, Tom Brady, and Bill Belichick all hate each other. It's going to be years, if not decades, before they do a documentary at all on the Patriots. But I'll tell you what, when they do it, we'll all watch it. And what was interesting about Jerry in the thing was he was fairly open in terms of what makes him tick. And I wanted to get this off my chest today when I was thinking about this coming down here to the Golden Ticket Sports Center to host the show today. I talked in the early years of this show about putting your balls on the table. Jerry Jones put his balls on the table to the degree that not many people are willing to do. To leverage everything you have to buy an oil well for $800,000 of money you don't have. He didn't know it was going to turn into $100 million. And that's why I have respect for guys like that. I'll be honest. Producer Corey, who owns and operates and runs Skycron, it's a very big operation. Most people don't have the cojones to do what these owner types do. And Jerry Jones has the biggest cojones of them all. Jeremy from Winnipeg writes in, he says, Jerry had balls of steel. But what I will say is just keep watching. Okay, just keep watching. Because I've had a lot of friends and associates that have worked for the Dallas Cowboys. And Jerry is a guy that you don't mind working for, but you can't work for him for long. And not many people have that I know. Well, Bobby Ackles, Sammy Garza. Sammy may still be there. I'm not sure. I haven't talked to Sammy about Jerry Jones, but Bob Ackles, the legendary water boy, former president of the BC Lions, destroys Jerry Jones in his book. Destroys Jerry Jones. Coming from Bobby Ackles. But the one thing Jerry said in the documentary, and I don't want to be full-on spoiler for y'all, but it's good. And where I said Jerry is honest in this is he goes, hey, the more I get, the more I want. And if that makes me greedy, so be it. And that's the thing. All these guys are like that. the Jerry Jones, the George Steinbrenners. My God, if you've been watching this show for more than a minute, you would know that Joe Girardi is become a good friend of mine, gym buddy of mine in Boca Raton, Florida. And I'm not sure he's the biggest fan of George Steinbrenner. Jerry Jones the exact same way. The more I want, the more I get, the more I want. And they're never happy. And they're okay guys to deal with. They're okay guys to work for as long as you're falling in line. The second you question anything, the second you go against the script of what they've written, you got big problems. And you saw the worst of Jerry Jones come out last year on Dallas radio, the station that carries the games. The two morning hosts questioned Jerry about what went on in the game the day before, and the teeth came out. And Jerry threatened them with their jobs and said, "Who are you to ask me those questions?" Even though they were all true. We're going to take a break and come back with more of this. Hope you're enjoying the program today here on Game.
Country's hottest party is coming. James Barker Band, Bud Light Buckle Up Tour 2025. Live across Canada with special guests Ryan and Rory. November 20th, Temple Garden Center. Tickets on sale now at Temple Garden Center box office or online at zasktix.ca. James Barker Band Live.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Peterson Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Peterson Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Famoso, Italian pizzeria and bar. Taste, savor, share. Famoso, the spirit of Italian. Come in, enjoy.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Peterson Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Peterson Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Peterson Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina. This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Peterson Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Peterson Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
All right, welcome back, everybody, as the RP Show continues, episode number 1559. And I'll tell you what, it has just not been a day. It's been a day, but not our day. And that's fine. It is what it is. As we sit here and talk NFL, which I am not averse to doing, every Wednesday, as you know, is our poll question of what's Canada's game of the week in the CFL. And I still haven't had a chance to look at the results, but I feel like I don't need to. It's Winnipeg at Montreal Thursday, Friday Edmonton at Ottawa, and another Saturday doubleheader. If you're not doing anything else, Saturday's a great day to sit in front of your television and tune in TSN and watch BC at Toronto, followed by Saskatchewan at Calgary. I got to think running away with it is the Calgary-Saskatchewan game. But Moose was on with us yesterday from St. John's, Newfoundland, and he's all geeked up about the Brayley Bowl. He's not going to be there because he's working the summer games, but BC Lions at Toronto Argonauts, it's the annual C&E game where they've got the Midway running in the parking lot of BMO Field. It's outstanding. But as I have said on this program many times, the NFL is the league that does bring us all together. Trust me, a lot of the NHL fans that watch this show aren't following the CFL. A lot of the CFL fans aren't following the NHL, but everybody's watching the NFL. So I'm kind of getting a kick out of this as we talk about the Cowboys documentary. And you're welcome, Netflix and Dallas Cowboys, like you needed any more pub from us. But Shy writes in from Saskatchewan and says, "Fly, Eagles, fly." That's the Philadelphia Eagles hashtag, fly, Eagles, fly. Jeremy from Winnipeg, who spawned this whole discussion, writes in and says, "This is Cowboys talk. Courage. Zip it." Well, wouldn't you know it, who meets in the NFL kickoff? Thursday, September the 4th, the Dallas Cowboys, America's team at the Philadelphia Eagles. And all I will say is, join us at Pump Jacks Cathedral in Regina for our NFL kickoff party. Brand new partners of the RP Show, Pump Jacks. Thursday, September the 4th, for the Cowboys at the Eagles. Be watching for details on how you can be part of it. Pump Jacks Cathedral Steakhouse and Saloon. Come early, stay late at the place where friends meet. So here's the thing. The reason I say keep watching for details on this, I stopped it at Pump Jacks and I said, "Hey, you guys want to do a party, an NFL kickoff?" They're like, "We're in." I said, "Okay, I'll host it." Another new partner of ours, Ultimate Fan Zone in Moose Jaw, Billy, is going to help sponsor it. He's going to put up prizing, Cowboys and Eagles wear. But I said, you guys are the bar guys. So you handle if you want to do ticketing, cover charge, invites, whatever you want to do. Joe's going to be there. Some of our RP Show people, like Scruffy, Billy from the Ultimate Fan Zone. So that is Thursday, September the 4th for the NFL kickoff, the Dallas Cowboys at the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, I'd said earlier that this Cowboys documentary is fantastic because I've been part of documentaries like this, which I'll get to in a second, but they interviewed Jimmy Johnson, they interviewed Troy Aikman, they interviewed Jerry Jones, they interviewed like literally everybody, except I'm waiting to see Brad Sham, the radio guy for the Cowboys, and maybe we will. I'm only 2.5 episodes into this thing, but I said I can't see the Patriots coming together anytime soon from what I've heard out of New England, despite their 6 Super Bowls. Colin in Ottawa writes in and he says, Tom Brady and Robert Kraft have a good relationship. Tom loves that the Patriots owner stuck up for him when Belichick tried to get rid of him the first time in 2018, I think. Fair. I think the turd on the blanket and all that is Belichick, for lack of a better term. And let's be honest, the Patriots 2 Saturdays ago unveiled the Tom Brady statue. No, I think Robert Kraft and Tom Brady are good. Belichick's the guy. And from what I understand, Tom Brady took a shot at Belichick in his speech when they unveiled it. Now, these Netflix series are a great thing, and you wonder why mainstream media, which we are one, so I'm not casting any dispersions here, but why it's struggling. Netflix is great. And if you watch the Aaron Hernandez documentary, the guy that ended up being a multiple murderer receiver for the Patriots, the only guy that went and visited him in jail was Robert Kraft. The only guy. The owner of the team. So tell me what you think of that. I mean, Aaron Hernandez was found guilty of those crimes and ended up taking his own life. But that just tells me a lot about Robert Kraft, and it probably tells me a lot more about all the others in that whole scene. Going back and forth on the Cowboys, Doc. Jeremy says, kind of crazy the dynasty run, the 70s Steelers, 80s 49ers, 90s Cowboys, 2000s Patriots, Chiefs. Kind of cool. Each decade had a dynasty. I think so. We got you, Kev?
I think you've got me.
Oh, my God. What happened? What happened? Ta-da! What happened? It's you.
It was all me. It was all me. I didn't push a little button.
Well, now we have like 2 minutes left. So our profuse apologies to producer Corey. It certainly wasn't him and our production team. Kev, I don't know where to start because we only got a couple minutes left with you. But Canada's game of the week is very clearly Sask at Calgary. You're not a fan of either team, but are you going?
No, I'll be. I'm going up to Bonnyville. I've got my daughter's wedding this weekend, so I won't be there. But yes, I agree. It is the game of the week. It has. I mean, I checked on TicketSmarter the other day, and I think there was 3,000 tickets left, 3,500 tickets left. So it's going to be a massive crowd, and I think it's going to be a good game.
So that's 30,000 plus. So take a swing at this. Everybody's excited. Ryan in upstate New York. Hey, it's Kevin. John Ohm says Kevin is back. Can you take a quick swing at this? Why is scoring up, field goals down, and rushing yards down in the CFL this year?
Well, scoring up, I think it's because we have probably the best crop of CFL quarterbacks we've seen in years and years and years. I mean, you can go through the whole list. I mean, you get Alexander healthy out in Montreal. You've got VA like burning it up in Calgary. Of course, my Rourke is doing his Rourke things. Rourke things. There's my new word for the day. So I think that you got Cody Fajardo doing his things. You got Bo Levi looking like he's a young man again, running the ball. And I think it's because the QBs are that good this year. Rushing is confusing me. And it was funny because I was looking at those stats too, and I highlighted that one. And I was like, I don't understand how rushing can be down this year. Better defense?
That's got to be what it is. I mean, yeah. Saskatchewan's averaging like 70 yards against a game. It's like they're quashing the entire league rushing stats, the Saskatchewan Roughriders. But I mentioned the BC Lions and them being on a roll earlier. They're coming on now. Winnipeg's coming on now. It must be a relief.
Oh, I tell you, the last two games have been a big relief for BC Lions fans to see Rourke back-to-back, almost 400 yards passing, 500 yards total offense. It's a relief. I'm hoping they can continue doing it. The CFL needs every team to be playing at the top of their game for it to be at its best. We can't afford the NFL. You can afford to have the Browns. You can afford to have, the Cowboys. But the CFL, you can't afford to have that. That's why I'm like really cheering for Edmonton to keep the role they're on, because it's better for the CFL if all teams are firing on all cylinders.
You've been following the league a long time. That's not new. I started cheering in the 80s. You felt bad for the teams that sucked, and we don't in the NFL. That's a really good point, Kevin, as to why that is. How do you think that Calgary Sask game will go?
I'm going to say it's going to come down to a last-second field goal, and it hurts me to say it, Rod, but I think Sask is going to win this one.
Well, I have not looked at any point spreads or odds or that kind of thing. Jeff, the Stamps fan, writes in. He says 21-15 Stampeders, and he also says, let's hope the Rider Nation behaves themselves. Well, they'll be fine unless they're provoked, but let's not go down that road. I do think it'll be a fantastic football game. 5 p.m. Mountain. It's evoking a lot of memories for me of Rider days gone by with games at Calgary. Summer games there. Sask, Calgary. There's very little better. Well, Kev, thanks for hanging with us and getting on. I wish we had more time, but we do got to let you go. Safe travels, my friend. Love you as always, and great job.
Thank you, buddy. We'll talk to you next week.
Kevin the Medium. checking in from Cowtown. When we come back, sports update and a viewer takeover the rest of the way.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Peterson Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Peterson Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Peterson Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Peterson Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Peterson Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Peterson Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Peterson Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Peterson Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Peterson Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Peterson Show.
Famoso, Italian pizzeria and bar. Taste, savor, share. Famoso, the spirit of Italian. Come in, enjoy.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Thank you, sir. Producer Corey. Great job, guys. Gremlins in Kevin's computer are what we understand were the pitfalls earlier on. And it's unfortunate, but it's live television. It's how things go. We tap danced our way through it. The fact of the matter is, I wasn't quite done with Kevin, but he had to go. So what I'm going to do here for the next couple of segments is what we always do. Viewer takeover and a sports update. As a matter of fact, I'm going to get to the sports update here right away. But I will tell you that the Western Dodge text line is open, 902-518-3033. Experience the Western Dodge difference. Local, reliable, and driven to find the perfect vehicle for you. Load them up, 902-518-3033. I said we're going to talk a lot of football here in hour one because the Blue Jays, as we do a sports update for Coolbet Canada, hit the field this afternoon for the rubber match against the Pirates in Pittsburgh. They're now underway. Toronto won the second of 3 games, 7-3 Tuesday night after losing Monday's opener 5-2. Chris Bassett gets the start for the Jays while Braxton Ashcroft takes the mound for the Pirates. I did watch that one last night, or at least I watched until George Springer homered to make it 5-0, and I'm like, I think the Jays got this. And that's when I tucked into the Cowboys documentary on Netflix and don't regret doing so. Speaking of Texas football, there's so much speculation about Texas quarterback Arch Manning's future in the media and even within his own family that it can be hard for even him to keep up. Manning was asked Tuesday about his grandfather Archie Manning's recent prediction to Texas Monthly that his grandson will still be with the Longhorns in the 2026 season. Arch Manning, I know it's confusing, but Arch is the grandson and he's quarterback in the Longhorns. Hook him. Arch Manning said, the grandson said he doesn't know where his grandpa got that idea, but he also insisted he's not making any plans about his pro future right now. Preseason number 1 Texas opens the season August 30th. That's next Saturday at Ohio State after losing to the Buckeyes in the national playoff semifinals last season. And I'll just tell you, the sports headlines are for CoolBet Canada. Get a welcome bonus up to $200 with the promo code RP200 at coolbet.com. I get this question almost every day, and I don't really know the answer for it, but the question is, Rod, why is the RP show so popular in America, given the fact you don't really cater to the U.S. viewers? It's a lot of Canadian topics. And I don't know why. But I think it's the freshness of it because it's growing even more. And as you know, you're going to hear shortly a television announcement, and I thank producer Corey for being behind that. I got one radio-wise for you. Ryan O'Radio, you all remember him? You know, for 5 years we aired on WQEE, Metro Atlanta, 99.1 FM. Well, we are now on 1700 AM, Auburn, Alabama. Mission Radio. As of this week, it's not airing live. It airs 4 to 6 p.m. every afternoon. I don't know why. But what I can tell you is it was pretty cool getting mail from those Atlanta area listeners, because it was on radio there. And also, you knew for a fact that they were paying attention. It wasn't chat bots. It wasn't AI. I'll never forget, some guy texted in from Marietta, Georgia, and the guy said, Rod, can you please get a message to Cody Fajardo and tell him we love him down here? Cody Fajardo, at the time, was the quarterback of the Montreal Alouettes. And here's some guy in Marietta, Georgia, listening on WQEE. And now, as of this week, we're on 1700 Mission AM. Point out all of that, if I can attempt to land the plane here, is that the college football talk is out of control, literally out of control, to the degree that a conversation between Arch Manning, the Longhorns quarterback, and his grandfather, Archie Manning, the Saints great, is leading the news. The miscommunicated story between the Mannings is leading the news. And George Cortez, I know we have a lot of football fan viewers in Calgary. George Cortez, the multi-time Grey Cup winning offensive coordinator, I think 5 Grey Cups for the Stamps. Does that sound right? George Cortez sits down there in Houston, watches this show all the time. And he's one of my football guys. He's one of my football consultants that I call when I need, we all have a shoulder, not to cry on, but to lean on. When I need a little football guidance, I call George Cortez. And I remember way back over 10 years ago, I called him to talk about Johnny Manziel, and George was like, I'm done talking about Johnny Manziel. Okay. Johnny football. They just get sick of it. They get tired of it. And this show is a little refreshing. Like the BC Lions fan who wrote in here and said how refreshing it is because we're not talking about the Canucks 24/7. Having said, like 650 Sportsnet Radio out there in Vancouver. Having said that, I wanted to go down that road with Kevin the Medium. It's so unfortunate that his computer was having gremlins. It's disappointing because Kevin is a Canucks fan, and he hosts the Hughes Sports Podcast every Wednesday night. I don't think they're doing Wednesday tonight, but they talk Lions and they talk Canucks a lot. He's my Canucks guy, and I have them picked for last place in the Pacific Division. I wanted to get his take on that. Oh, Air Corps. Now you guys want to talk college football? Air Corps writes in from BC and says, can DeBoer survive another 2 or 3 loss season with Alabama? Or as you say, Bama? No. No, there was going to be a significant drop-off in year 1 from Nick Saban to DeBoer. That we all kind of knew that was going to happen, and they were on the cusp of being in the playoff as it was, even though it was 12 teams. They cannot miss again. DeBoer is coaching for his life from week 1. But thank you for the question, because Alabama is my favorite college team. Carlos in Indianapolis writes in and says, and now Archie the Younger to Indianapolis meme ramps up with Daniel Jones being named QB1 here. It is the race to tank. They're already talking about tanking. Not just in Indianapolis, but New Orleans, who the power rankings have as the 32nd team in the NFL. I told you that we were going to do football today because the Blue Jays are playing a matinee and there's nothing going on in hockey at all. Jeremy in Winnipeg says they're going to eat him up in Bama by week 3. Not if they're winning, but let's not forget, Jalen Milroe's not there either. They don't have their quarterback. Oh, Air Corps, you are obviously in the Vancouver area. Now we're cooking with gas. We're rolling with the comments, and thank you. Air Corps says, I can't even listen to 650 Sportsnet, only Canucks talk. It's not a sports talk station. I don't know how that changed in the sports world, but it sure has, hasn't it? John Ohm, watching in Winnipeg, says, Johnny Football, LOL, where is he now? People, speaking of Netflix series, go watch that. These aren't all rom-coms, romantic comedies, these Netflix series. Like the one with Brett Favre, I caution you to watch that with low expectations on Brett Favre because it doesn't make him look very good. And the Manziel one, I remember when it dropped a couple of years ago, people that had watched it before I did said it just left you hanging. And that was like the best description of the Johnny Manziel, Johnny Football documentary. It leaves you hanging. You're waiting for the end of his story where he sews it all up and says, yeah, I've completely screwed up my life and I'm going to get better. Nope. Nope. At the end of the show, he's basically like, I'm going to keep screwing it up and you all can't stop me. Janice writes in, and I appreciate her for doing so. She is a Stamps fan watching in Edmonton. She says, I remember the Christmas games at McMahon Stadium. Saskatchewan fans who moved to YYC, that's Calgary, y'all, came to the game. It changed when the Calgary Sports and Entertainment Corporation took over control of the Stampeders and handed out red ponchos and red bells at the game. So they're trying to squash the green. You're never going to squash the green. Not over the long haul, you're not. But it's funny when Jeff the Stamps fan writes in and says that he hopes the Rider fans behave themselves. I can't say that he's wrong in that because, I mean, I was right at the front of the bandwagon in the 2000s when we were playing to sellouts every game when the Riders were at Calgary. And then I saw the YouTube videos of the fights in the stands. And this is obviously not saying anything ill of the Rider fans. I am one. I was raised one. But when the cops were involved in the crowd, and I saw the video myself, and the guy in the Rider jersey was trying to get at the cop's gun, that was scary stuff. Really, really scary stuff. And that's the one thing that, to be honest with you, I don't go to a lot of NFL games, frankly, out of safety more than anything. Out of safety more than anything, I don't go to NFL games because that goes on every Sunday. That's what a lot of our viewers do not understand. That does, from what I've experienced, that isn't really a thing at college games. but it sure the hell is at NFL games. And the thing is, the teams want to pump the booze into the fans, pump them 2-for-1 shots. Cheap beer in Dallas, which I'm waiting to see that in the Netflix documentary. And then you wonder when the fit hits the shan, you wonder why. Rich in Edmonton says, Rider fan behavior at road games can be deplorable, which pains me to say as my late great dad was a Sasky. Every fan base has them. Thank you, Corey. We'll be back, everybody, with Hour 2 and Kenny Nagunst coming up from 806 Sports after this.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Famoso, Italian pizzeria and bar. Taste, savor, share. Famoso, the spirit of Italian. Come in, enjoy.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Famoso, Italian pizzeria and bar. Taste, savor, share. Famoso, the spirit of Italian. Come in, enjoy.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Peterson Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Peterson Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Peterson Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Peterson Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Peterson Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the RP Show, Hour 2, coming your way here on the Game Plus Television Network and various other forms streaming on YouTube. Please like, share, and subscribe. That would help us out a whole heck of a lot. Also, podcast platforms, all the major ones. And this week, we're back on the radio, 1700 AM Mission Radio out of Auburn, Alabama. New station, same guy. Ryan O'Media is running it, and formerly of WQEE Noonan, Georgia. So here on National Radio Day. National Radio Day. I started in this perilous trade in 1988. Producer Corey was just a toddler at that time. A toddler, Corey, as you know. And I also want to say that Skycron is the greatest production partner that I've ever worked with and we've ever had. So thank you, Producer Corey, for dealing with the issues in hour 1 hour ago when Kevin the Medium was with us and his computer was coming up with gremlins. We got through it. Teamwork makes the dream work. Hey, Kevin the Medium is still here. I may be calling you later, Kev. He says, Rod, I think the Canucks will finish in a playoff spot. It's a little early to be drinking out there, isn't it, Kev? And let me just re-up on the Quick Six show topics and tell you that Kenny Nagunst is going to be with us in the next segment from 806 Sports, Texas. Oh, that's going to be an interesting conversation. Kenny's a guy that's new in my life that I'm tremendously grateful for. Similarly to producer Corey. But Kenny's in Amarillo, Texas. We'll get his thoughts on, obviously, college football, NFL. And he says he's a hockey fan first, if you can believe. John Ohm says, I prefer college football over the NFL. Well, this is a great segue into what we were talking about. I said we're going to talk about a lot of football today because the Blue Jays are playing right now. And I assume that's where the baseball fans would be. Yet Bomber Boy is watching the Jays game and watching us at the same time. He says, George Springer with another leadoff dinger. Absolutely incredible. Coincidentally, I stopped watching the Jays game last night when Springer homered and made it 5-0. I'm like, Jays got this, which they did. So on that football topic where I said that's what we're going to talk about, what's Canada's game of the week in the Canadian Football League? Now that I have a minute, and it's brought to you by EMJ Marketing, by the way. Now that I have a minute, let's see what the pollsters are saying. Because you know it's 84% of respondents are saying Canada's game of the week in the CFL is the Saskatchewan Roughriders at the Calgary Stampeders. Can you believe it? 84%. 8% are saying the Winnipeg Blue Bombers at the Montreal Alouettes, and then 4% for Edmonton at Ottawa, and 4% BC at Toronto. It ain't even close. So Kevin the Medium has predicted the Riders will win that football game on a walk-off field goal. I don't think it'll be even that close. I think it's going to be a double-digit victory for the Green Riders, which, why did I say that? I hate that term, the Green Riders. Oh, my God. We used to get that all the time. We'll come back on all of this. Point 2 was the Blue Jays. I mean, last night's game's already last night. Point 2 was the Blue Jays winning 7-3 last night. Alejandro Kirk, the all-star catcher, had 2 home runs, and George Springer, as I mentioned, added a 2-run homer. So it's the rubber match this afternoon. Max Scherzer last night got the win. Chris Bassett's on the mound now. Point 3 was still football, but a little different take. America's team, and I want to thank Jeremy in Winnipeg, one of our daily viewers. We call them P1s, Priority 1 viewers. He watches every day. He's like, Rod, you got to check out this Netflix documentary, America's Team, the Gambler and His Cowboys. So to re-up what I talked about an hour ago with a little bit of a new twist, because Kenny Nagunst, who's coming in next from 806 Sports Amarillo, was in Dallas on Saturday at AT&T Stadium watching the Cowboys and the Ravens, which the Ravens won, Cowboys 0-2 in the preseason, which doesn't matter, but you have to understand, I don't know what it is about certain fan bases. I feel like it's long-term fan bases. Dallas Cowboys, New York Yankees, Toronto Maple Leafs, Montreal Canadiens, Saskatchewan Roughriders. We're talking in some cases 100-year-old franchises. I don't know what it is about them, but they're largely neurotic. You can't talk any sense into them. Cultish in a way. So with the Cowboys being a Texas being a football state, you would think it doesn't matter that the Cowboys are 0-2, but it does. And with that documentary last night, as I say, that's my team. So I've had tours of Texas Stadium, Cowboys Stadium, read all the books on the Cowboys, Boys Will Be Boys, where I'm sitting there reading that book by Jeff Pearlman going, I shouldn't know this. As a fan, I should not know this. I know about the White House, and any Cowboys fan worth their salt knows all these things. So watching the documentary that Jerry Jones bought the team in 89, leveraged everything he had to buy an oil well for $800,000 in the 80s, maybe even the 70s. That thing turns into a $100 million gusher, and he buys the Dallas Cowboys with it. But he still had no idea what he was doing. The one thing that the documentary didn't say, and I don't know why it didn't, was that Jerry Jones did play college football at Arkansas. It's not like he doesn't know football, and he kind of talked in the show like he didn't know football when he got into it. I would submit now, maybe he doesn't know football 36 years later, but they went on to win the 3 Super Bowls. I'm 2.5 episodes in, so right now, it's all sunshine and rainbows and unicorns. They're all winning. Everybody's getting along. Aside from the players didn't like Jimmy Johnson and Troy Aikman, who is my guy. He's my favorite NFL player of all time, Troy Aikman. Now of Monday Night Football, saying in the documentary that the players boycotted the Christmas party because they all hated Jimmy Johnson. Like, there's some really good stuff in there. And Troy said, I said to the other guy, I gotta go. I'm the quarterback. I gotta go. He shows up. He's the only player there. It's good. If anybody else has seen this, tell me what you think. And for those that haven't seen it, there are people who are writing in saying, I got to watch it now. It's that good. I don't want to be too much of a spoiler. But as I said, I know what's coming next. The ugliness. Jimmy Johnson and Jerry Jones fighting, and then Barry Switzer comes in, and they win another Super Bowl, but he can't get along with Jerry Jones. And how the story ends is nobody can get along with Jerry Jones. Be interesting to see how they frame that story. Jeff, the Stamps fan, writes in, he goes, who owned the Cowboys before Jerry Jones? All out. Now, number one, we could probably Google that. We should do that. Number two, watch the series, because I can't remember the guy's name. I wasn't a Cowboys fan before Jerry Jones owned the team. I became a fan in 1990. He bought them in 89. But back to how these rich guys roll, it's documented in the series that the guy that sold the Cowboys to Jerry Jones was facing bankruptcy. He was a Texas oil man who was, again, facing bankruptcy and had to get rid of the team. But still put a gun to Jerry's head in terms of the price. It's good. 902-518-3033. And before we move on, that's the Western Dodge text line. Before we move on, I should tell you that we are having an NFL kickoff party at Pump Jacks Cathedral in Regina for Cowboys at Eagles, Thursday, September the 4th. Be watching for details on how you can be part of it. Pump Jack's Steakhouse and Saloon. Come early, stay late at the place where friends meet. I stopped in a Pump Jack's. Great crew there. Shannon, cool Kevin Smith, Frank, the day manager. And I said, what'd you guys say to hosting an NFL kickoff party? They're like, done. Where do we sign? Here we are. Ultimate Fan Zone Moose Jaw is going to come on board as a presenting sponsor. They'll be putting up merchandise from the Cowboys and Eagles. But I said, you guys are the bar guys. You decide how people are going to get into this thing. By invite, cover charge, whatever. I'll be the MC and host. And I was talking to Moose about it this morning. I said, we're kicking it back old school. It's the way we used to do things. Bringing the sponsors together, bringing the fans together, bringing the viewers together. Pump Jacks Cathedral Steakhouse and Saloon. Thursday, September 4th for NFL kickoff. Scott in Vancouver writes in and says, what's the common denominator in all of this? I know what you're talking about. The Cowboys. The common denominator is Jerry Jones. And when you've been with dysfunctional franchises, which I have, you see it plain as day. You don't need to be told by Scott in Vancouver or anybody else. When the faces change below them, but the one at the top doesn't, and you don't have success, it's staring at you right at like the nose on your face. It's Jerry Jones. And then I don't like speaking ill of them. It's my favorite team. But I think we all know now that they're not going to win a Super Bowl as long as Jerry's alive. There's just too much dysfunction going on with the team. The same Scott in Vancouver says, I know a guy in Fort Worth who has followed the Cowboys since the mid-'60s. He said nobody knew the owner back then. See, that's why I don't remember the guy's name. You never talked about him at all. And here's the Cowboys on the cusp of a new season. Not going to make the playoffs, but hey, we got a Netflix series. Hey, we got the number one franchise value in the NFL. I say this to the Leafs fans that are watching because we have so many viewers out there in Toronto, and it's 11:11 Mountain, 1:11 Eastern. Please envision a positive outcome to your current situation. What do you got to lose? And I understand that Leafs fans aren't limited to just Toronto. So to Leafs fans around the world, put it this way. Are you okay if the Leafs make money every year but don't win a Stanley Cup? Are you okay with that? Because I'm not okay with that with the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, I don't want to be ostracized by the Cowboys for saying it how it is, as John Frenzy likes to say. But that's how it is. So many people give them a pass, non-Cowboys fans saying, well, but they make money. You don't get a trophy for making money. You don't get a trophy for making money. 902-518-3033. And I'm going to say this again. I'm going to be dead and gone before you all get it, what I was saying. But when I talk NFL, the comments go crazy. I mean, they go crazy for NHL in the winter and for CFL on Fridays. But NFL every day, it doesn't take much. Wayne in BC says, hey, Rod, how did the Cowboys win a Super Bowl with Jimmy Johnson coaching and the players hating him? He goes, he must have been a good coach. Watch the series, Wayne. That's all I can say. He couldn't coach now. He couldn't coach now. So many of those guys from back then couldn't do it. And Jimmy Johnson would tell you that. And I've been in Jimmy Johnson's place in the Big Chill in the Key Largo, Florida, many, many times. In the show, it says Jimmy's flawed. Figure it out for yourself. But there was a guy, well, he made the whole team run 110s, which 110 is up the field and back. 15 times they had to run up the field and back, and some player had an asthma attack in the Texas heat, and Jimmy kicked him off the team. The guy's getting medical attention on his back on the grass, and Jimmy's like, what the hell's wrong with you? And the guy's like, I'm having an asthma attack. I have asthma. Jimmy Johnson says, well, have your asthma over there. Nobody on this team has asthma. He was that demanding. Now, yeah, he just retired from the NFL on Fox as one of their top pundits. Seems like a great guy now, but it reminds me of the Stanley Cup playoffs last year when I was in Tampa Bay watching a game with Scotty Bowman. A lot of you will remember we put the photo on this show. I had such a great time with Scotty Bowman, and he was such a nice man. Thanks, Corp. And I had a lot of NHL guys write me and go, he's not a good guy. I'm like, well, like everything, I'm getting to the party a little late. He's 92, Scotty Bowman. I'd like to think he's mellowed by now. And I'm not going to hold something against Scotty Bowman because he did something to you that hurt your feelings in 1974. We change, we grow up. I hope we mature with the edge comes off a little bit. John Ohm, I love how this is turning into Cowboys therapy session. John Ohm says, does Jerry Jones care about winning or making money? It's evident. He cares about making money. And the thing is, yeah, he can rely on the 3 Super Bowls. But I sit at night looking at the ceiling thinking about this, going, Well, he did win 3 Super Bowls, but I'm like, that's 30 years ago. I cannot rest my hat or my reputation on what I did in this business 30 years ago, or for that matter, last week. Rich in Edmonton writes in and says it was no picnic during the Al Davis era in Raider Nation. The Sun ain't much better. See, that's the thing. You all think because they're NFL teams or NHL teams that they're infallible. But I'm like, no, the Raiders, I don't think have a plan for after Pete Carroll. I don't think they have a plan for next week. That's some teams. You know that the Chiefs do. You know that the Ravens do. Kenny Nagunst joins us next from 806 Sports, and he's just right for the party. He'll be joining us right after this here on Game Plus Television, streaming in 1700 AM Mission Radio.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Peterson Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Peterson Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Peterson Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Peterson Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Peterson Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Peterson Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Peterson Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Peterson Show.
Famoso, Italian pizzeria and bar. Taste, savor, share. Famoso, the spirit of Italian. Come in, enjoy.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live. Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. It's hour 2. And by the way, we're brought to you in part by the Mad Greek. From classic to loaded, pizza night starts at the Mad Greek Eatery. Order online, pick up, or dine in at the madgreekeatery.com. And by the way, for our viewers in the Niagara Falls region, how about this, Kenny Nagunst? I'll be on 610 CKTB Niagara this afternoon with John Gonzo Mark. He wants to talk CFL and Blue Jays. Last time I was in Niagara, I was with this cowboy, Kenny Nagunst. How you doing, big time?
I'm doing pretty good. I like that San Francisco little flavor of the Rod Peterson show.
Thank you, man. This is from a Florida clothing company called Whole Life. They did me up a bunch of shirts in NFL colors. Very nice of them to do it. Kenny, listen.
We all can't afford moose wear.
It was free. But hey, Kenny, we've been talking about the new Cowboys series on Netflix, America's Team, The Gambler and His Cowboys.
I haven't seen any of it yet. But, of course, I'm a little busy. But we've talked about it on my show a little bit.
Okay, well, so you've been watching a little bit of this show today. You knew that I was talking about it. I was going to ask you about that. You don't need to watch the show. You live in Texas. And am I right that you were in Dallas on Saturday for the game? Tell me about it.
I was in Dallas on Saturday. And Clint Murchison originally owned the Cowboys, and Bum Bright sold it to him. But he only owned it 4 years, remember. So Bum's the one who sold it to actual Jerry. And remember, Jerry fired Tom Landry. So a lot of people around here never were, he won championships and they liked it and understood. But most people around here are not fans of Jerry Jones. They like him as an owner and like him building a brand, but they go away as a general manager. That's what I get.
Well, that's not new, by the way. And I want to walk this back for a second. So we're airing on Game Plus Television Canada-wide, 32 U.S. states, including Texas, where we do air in Amarillo, Texas on Game Plus. That's where Kenny joins us from today from 806 Sports. We're streaming on YouTube, and new this week, we're on 1700 AM Mission Radio, Auburn, Alabama, here on National Radio Day. Happy National Radio Day to you, Kenny. Are you celebrating it in some fashion?
Yeah, I'm on a big-time radio show. I had a generic radio show for a couple hours, but now I'm on big-time TV and radio show and with real producers and stuff that counts you down. I'm the guy counting down other people in the studios. It's a little different.
It's a fantastic show, what you got. So happy National Radio to you, Kenny. But just
to you also.
Yeah, thank you. So maybe walk this back again to AT&T Stadium Saturday. The Cowboys lose to the Ravens. I did watch it on television. Joe Milton didn't look that great. Yeah, the Cowboys weren't playing their big guys at all. But what's the mood in Dallas that the Cowboys are 0-2?
Okay, had great seats. Giveaway for our 12th anniversary of 806 Sports Radio, 12 years independent. A couple of listeners, me and one of my buddies went down there. Traffic was what was. Both of the games were the same time, so we overpaid for parking, but kind of that stuff. Crowd was a little light at the beginning. Sucked the air out of them since you watched it. Kickoff to the Cowboys, penalty right away. I understand it's preseason. I say practice games, but NFL doesn't like me saying that. But this practice game that it was, they penalty on the kickoff. They go back 10 yards or whatever, practically half the distance to the goal. Second, third place, sack in the end zone. You got a 2 on the board. What is 2? That's hockey. 2-0. I thought I had a hockey game that broke out. And then next thing we're going to look at it, it's 5-0. I'm like, 5-0. It's a lopsided hockey victory, but maybe somebody could come back. And the stats were ridiculous. You're talking 60 plays to 30 something. I don't have it right in front of me, but 60 plays to 30 at halftime, 200 yards. Every stat doubled up by Baltimore. It was, other than the Cowboys with a kind of pick six kind of play and some of the defensive effort, it literally like they had decided that they were going to have a bye week and not play. And for Cowboy fans aren't boo-happy people, and it's preseason, but there was no juice in the game, if you know what I mean. No energy on a couple of plays. It was everybody, never sat at a stadium that big and a lot of people on their phone. I mean, a few people, but it's your experience. Most of the 3 people that I was with had never been to the game, never been in the stadium. And it's what we spent our time was talking about the stadium, not the on-the-field action. And that's a problem for Dallas Cowboys this season because there's other teams playing game 2, starters with Joey B and Mahomes already playing, and the Cowboys literally washing away. Here's what I've heard on my radio. Cowboys are just trying not to get hurt. Cowboys are just trying to keep everybody healthy. because their best chance is to have everybody healthy and hit a lick early. But you can't do that. You've got to get in a rhythm. You're going to take 2 weeks off. Next week, final game. And then you've got the bye week, setting up, and college football is going to kick off. And it's not America's team. And
no.
I'm in Cowboys team. It's not America's team. That's not the way America's team would play.
Yeah, well, you are not exactly stoking my enthusiasm for my favorite football team here on the cusp of the 2025 NFL season, Kenny. How many games have you been in AT&T Stadium, by the way?
No, half a dozen probably.
Okay. Has it ever been loud?
Oh, yeah, very loud. First, a couple of years ago, I went, I'm a Buck fan, went to Tampa at game 1 when they hurt a Dak's ankle or whatever. And it was exciting, even other than they sucked energy out because there goes your quarterback. But it's exciting. No, it's the cheerleaders, the pomp and circumstance, everything. It's an event. And most NFL teams are that way. No, it's exciting. You go against the Eagles, you go to one of their division games, and energy is all that, let alone. And also, I host a thing. You give a shout out to things. The Ninth Inning Brews and Bites, we host all the Cowboys game, autographed jersey at the end of the game, all that cool stuff. Old school radio, why we're the brother from another mother in the business. And the excitement is there until it starts going bad. And then they're leaving, and I love Cowboy fans, but their energy, they're just, I hear it a lot that they're just ready to tank for Arch. And I don't think Arch is going to come after a year. They're going to not have a good season. I think he's going to be there too. But that's the mentality of Cowboy fans.
They're not tanking. Okay, so hang on. Viewer Brian McMillan writes in, he says, I'm worried about the Cowboys. Jerry has to go. Well, the thing is, he's not going anywhere, and that's why I have lovingly detached from the Dallas Cowboys. In that, I'm still following what you're doing, but I'm not emotionally invested. I won't allow your actions to hurt me anymore. That's what I've done with the Dallas Cowboys. But, did you see me talking about Arch Manning earlier? Like, people say, Kenny, to me regularly, and I'm just going to decode a little bit of what you said or slow it down. Kenny said that he and I are brothers from another mother because we do old school radio the same way. And that's why when we met June 19th, in Burlington, Ontario, we clicked immediately because this guy you're seeing on your screen, he and I are soul brothers in this broadcasting industry. So that's the thing. We do these team events, watch parties, bring the fans together. We love it. But people say to me all the time, Kenny, why is your show so popular in America? And I don't know the answer to that, other than I think some people do get tired a little bit of the college football talk. Like, I can't imagine. You're not even in Austin. But the Arch and Arch E. Manning talk, and the Longhorns are number 1 going into the season for the first time ever. Does it get exhausting at all? Because it kind of does to me.
We're closer to Texas Tech, and there's more Texas talk around here because I love Texas Tech, but it's the old school, real team in the state. Even though they moved away from the Big 12, that was a big hurt. But it's still that way. They still hold on to a championship with Vince Young or the guy in my building, Jim Besselman, played on the original 1963 team. They still hold on to that. It's still, it's still the Longhorns. It's our state team, and they think it's their shot this year, of course. But you see a Penn State, you see a Clemson, and you see Ohio State. What are they? They're going to be the number 1 team. Going to be an underdog in the very first week of a college football season.
Yeah, well, it is happening. And like I say, I'm not even in America yet. I'm going back first week of September, and I'm already tired of the Manning talk, and the season hasn't even kicked off yet. But again, I'll bite. Do you think he'll be playing in the NFL in 2026 or not? What's best for Arch Manning?
He needs to wait 2 years. He needs to play a second year. He didn't play a lot. He played a few games. I know age-wise he's played enough to play, and your lineage is so much. But you need to get football in. You can't come into the NFL because if he does go to the Cowboys, if he goes somewhere, they're going to play him in a hurry. You don't draft people and sit on them anymore. With the rookie contracts that are, you get your money's worth out of the rookie now. You play him and you find out before you give him a big contract. They don't got to sit and watch. Who's going to learn from Dak Prescott? How to to be a mediocre quarterback? What are you going to learn from him?
What not to do? Learn what not to do.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, The thing is, this is how things have changed, and I don't think the viewers really understand this. Arch Manning will be getting enough NIL money at Austin as it is. If this is a money decision, it's not a money decision.
No.
And he'll have his uncles, Peyton and Eli. Pardon me?
He'll take a pay cut. Take a pay cut
probably.
to the NFL. No,
yeah, well, that's what I'm saying.
Contract, you don't make no money.
Right, but fans don't understand that, I don't think. And you see the commercials. Arch Manning already has endorsement deals. This is not a money decision. So if you don't need the money, why would you go to the NFL and to a crappy team? And this isn't 1983 anymore. Okay, the kids don't need the money, especially those in Arch Manning's position. Now, back on this, last time you were on, the viewers really enjoyed it, Kenny. That doesn't surprise me, but
I like
you
all
said
your viewers. Y'all hit me up more at my social media. Y'all holler at your boy.
Tell them where they can find you.
806 Sports Radio. It's Googleable. My Kenny Nagunst. It's in like Nancy.
Oh, we lost Kenny. I bet you got a phone call in there.
806.
Oh, there you go.
806 Sports Radio, or just 806 Sports. But it's
okay. Your screen just went black for a second, but you're good. You're back now.
Oh.
Last time you were on
Sports Radio.
806 Sports Radio, everybody, Amarillo, Texas. Last time you were on, you said that the Carolina Panthers would be the surprise team in the NFL this year. And you said Patrick Mahomes is the most overrated quarterback in the NFL. That did have some viewers suggesting you get submitted for drug testing, but I digress. It wouldn't be the first. I should remind everybody, by the way, that Kenny Nagunst is the inspiration for Patrick Swayze's character Dalton in the movie Roadhouse, but we don't have time to go down that road today. My next hot button question, hot take question for you, Kenny, is who will be the first coach fired in the National Football League this year?
Oh, okay. So that struggles for me because I'm not a coach. I'm not a player, individual coach. I'm a team guy. I don't play fantasy, if you know what I mean. But who's going to be bad and then they're going to be worried? I would say I'm worried about the guy from the Steelers. If you want to know the truth, the Steelers don't change coaches. They better do something, or that guy's going to be the shortest term coach. I don't know if they'll fire him in the middle of the season, though. But we go through our schedules. We double dip with Baskin Robbins, one of our partners on the show. So instead of 2 a days, which is played out, we go through 2 teams a day. I got 5-6 wins for the Steelers. Looking at the schedule, they're not going to win a lot of games. He probably should be on the hot seat, but you know what the Steelers do with their coaches?
It's not out of line that you say Mike Tomlin will be the first head coach fired in the National Football League, because I've seen him on the hot seat index readings that I've had. But here are the power rankings. It's what Kenny's saying. Look at the bad teams and then walk it back and say how many of these coaches are in precarious positions. The Tennessee Titans opened the season as the worst ranked team in the NFL. And their head coach is Brian Callahan. He is in, year 2 or 3? He might be a sitting duck. New Orleans Saints are the second worst team, Kenny. They just fired a coach, Dennis Allen, and have Kellen Moore there. I'd like to think the Saints are safe. What say you?
Yeah. Now, both of those guys are okay. Would help me out with the Cleveland coach. That Cleveland, I took a little wage or something. I took Cleveland going 0 wins. 8-1.
Oh,
800,
wow.
800. My 100 gets me 800. I looked at their schedule and I could not find a win for them. But they throw that number small because they don't want to lose 50-1 with somebody doing that. But it's been a while since we've had a winless team. But I don't know about the Cleveland coaches' experience.
Kevin Stefanski.
But I say there's no
Kevin
Stefanski's
his
no
name.
way you get rid of. Okay, no way you get rid of the New Orleans guy. He's only had 1 year. You don't do that. He doesn't even get his system. The Tennessee team, yeah, they're going to be bad. He could, but man, that's a good coach to lose their job.
Ryan in upstate New York says, if the Bengals get off to a slow start again, I think Zach Taylor is the first head coach to go. And he says, I forgot about Kevin Stefanski. Yeah, he'll probably be the first to go. Wayne in Victoria, BC says, in other words, Kenny Nagunst is a tough guy. Yeah, I feel like the night we met in Burlington, Ontario at Joe Dogs, you started pulling out photos of yourself from back in the day. Like I wouldn't have believed that you were some hotshot bouncer in Amarillo, Texas. But I'm like, Kenny, if you told me, I'd believe you. Right? We have that kind of friendship. Within moments, we had that kind of friendship. But you were Jack back in the day.
Yeah, that's the thing that people don't understand. Can I say a bad word on this show? Okay, I got German Shepherd whoop ass on a Chihuahua body. I used to be a 250-pound beast of a man. You see a 170-pound dude, I got sick, had an illness, not cancer, but I had something wrong with me. Lost 90 pounds in a hospital. I used to have 20-inch arms. I used to be missing teeth guy with a mullet. So I was intimidated in a bar. Don't come at me. But people don't understand when they see this, oh, you really were that guy. I'm talking to your producer, trained a lot of MMA. Back before it was MMA, it was shoot fights in Amarillo. We're in the lineage of Evan Tanner from Amarillo, Steve Nelson, the headhunter, all those people from Amarillo. So, yeah, you should watch your step around me, even though I'm a nice guy.
I never got that vibe off you, and I don't think you got that vibe off me, yet we're both people
Not at all.
that people wouldn't want to screw with. Let's just leave it there. Now, we had a good question come in the other day. I'm going to throw it to you. Does Shadir Sanders make the Cleveland Browns roster?
Yes. Too much invested. Too many jerseys to be sold. Too much gear. Too much sponsorship's going to come to the team. People are going to step up. You know the numbers game. I mean, there are going to be his merch is going to sell. He's going to be on key commercials locally. Wouldn't be surprised if his dad's in the background and he's got his arm crossed. And I'm the most important Sanders in Cleveland. You know what I mean? That kind of deal. So, no, they don't get rid of him. Too much money-wise. Is he good enough to be on the field? I mean, they got everybody but you as a quarterback on their roster, so they might as well keep him. It's cheap to keep them people. Do they need a third linebacker to win 1 or 2 games? Why keep an extra 12th linebacker whenever you could keep a quarterback that somebody might need halfway through the season with an injury as a backup?
Kenny Nagunst bringing the heat from 806 Sports, Amarillo, Texas today. Everybody but me on their roster as a quarterback. Yeah, but do you? Now, you're a general manager. I should tell everybody. Kenny is also the general manager of the Amarillo Warbirds Indoor Football League team. So you have that management perspective. You think the Browns would actually keep a guy because he sells jerseys? Johnny Manziel aside, do you think that's a factor?
What else are they? They're not going to win football games. What else do you have to do? Okay, Rob, business, football. Okay, business, football. We're talking business. The NFL's got to make the most money. Ask Jerry Jones that. That's why they make so much money, cares about business. They don't have a reason to care about football this year because you're not going to even be relevant in your division. You're not going to win a half a dozen games. What else do you have to do? Make money. And what's the best way to make money? One of the hottest names out there. They make money. They keep him. Where else does he go, Rob? You answer it.
Well,
for me. Where does he go?
Somebody will pick him up. But you're right, Kenny. That is a very well thought out reasoned answer. We're out of time, Kenny. Thanks for this, but keep in touch, brother.
Thank you. Love you, Rod.
Love you too, buddy. Kenny Nagunst from 806 Sports, Amarillo, Texas. He airs daily 9 to 11 Central on 806 AM Amarillo Radio. We'll be right back.
Famoso, Italian pizzeria and bar. Taste, savor, share. Famoso, the spirit of Italian. Come in, enjoy.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Peterson Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Peterson Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Peterson Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Peterson Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Peterson Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Peterson Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Peterson Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Peterson Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Okay, we are back on hour 2. Couple segments to go. Hope you're having as much fun as we are today, live here on the Game Plus Television Network. My funnest thing, aside from talking to my buddies like Kenny Nagunst right there, is going back and forth with the viewers. And we've got comments here from our range of viewers from all over the continent that'll take us right up to the top of the hour and the end of the show. But I should mention a couple of things. We're brought to you in part by the Mad Greek. Are you hungry late? The Mad Greek Eatery is open until 11 p.m. for dine-in, pick-up, or order online at themadgreekeatery.com. And the Western Dodge text line is open. Experience the Western Dodge difference. Local, reliable, and driven to find the perfect vehicle for you. The Toronto Blue Jays wrap up a 3-game series in Pittsburgh today, looking to win the rubber match at PNC Park. Chris Bassett will be on the mound for the Jays, who lost Monday's opener 5-2, but bounced back to win 7-3 last night. Righty Johan Oviedo is pitching for the Pirates. The Jays open a 3-game series in Miami Friday against the erratic Marlins. 2-1 Pirates, fourth inning, last I saw, if I have that right. George Springer has gone deep again for the Jays in that one. The New York Yankees, who have won 4 games in a row and 7 of their last 10, trail the AL East leading Toronto Blue Jays by 5 games. The Bronx Bombers will play the Tampa Bay Rays again tonight after pounding the Florida squad 13-3 yesterday on the strength of 9 home runs. And did see the highlights of that one. They're playing in George Steinbrenner Stadium in Tampa Bay, right just across the street from the Buccaneers Stadium. And the home runs were flying out of the yard there last night. In the spirit of George Steinbrenner, I guess. His name's on the stadium, the owner of the Yankees, but not with us anymore. And I should tell you, the sports update's brought to you by Seat Giant. Stop paying U.S. dollars for games and concerts. Canadian-owned and operated with Canadians in mind. Super Bowl, college football, Taylor Swift, Justin Timberlake. We've got it all. Use the promo code RPShow for 15% off now. Check us out at SeatGiant.ca. There's been a bit of a theme in the program today. We talked a lot about that Dallas Cowboys documentary on Netflix. And it's not even a Dallas Cowboys documentary. It's a Jerry Jones documentary. I feel like Jerry paid the producers to, hey, go do a documentary on me. I feel like that wouldn't surprise anybody that knows the scene, and it reminds me of Steinbrenner too. Now, I should tell you, Joe Girardi won 3 World Series as a catcher with the Yankees and another as a manager. And Joe hasn't told me this, but friends of Joe have told me. I've talked to Joe, but not about this. But Steinbrenner, just a very, very hard guy to work for. And I think Jerry Jones is the same. There's not many people that have worked for him for a real long time that I know. And Jerry Jones at least admitted in that documentary, he goes, the more I get, the more I want. Does that not sound like Steinbrenner? Does that not? And he says, if that makes me greedy, then I'm greedy. He wasn't making any apologies. And I've worked for a lot of guys like that. It's really good until it isn't. Talking about these NFL topics. Ryan in Saratoga, New York says Jimmy Haslam won't allow the Browns to release Shadur Sanders. It was his call for the Browns to draft him. Well, there you go. I didn't invent the phrase. I'm just popularizing it. If you read the book by Tim Green, it's called The Dark Side of the Game. It kind of changed my life. And there's a chapter in there that's sort of similar to the book The Dirt by Motley Crue, but changed my life for other reasons. But why some teams always win and why some teams always lose. And Jimmy Haslam, which I believe you're right, Ryan, was in there at the controls on draft day saying, draft Shadur. Then you wonder why the Browns are the Browns. Rich in Edmonton says Joe Flacco will somehow manage a couple of wins for the Browns. Yeah, but they'll still be last place. And wouldn't that be something if Arch goes back to college for another year? And these teams that tank it this year, frankly, I was thinking Indy, the Saints, that would be a great story where his grandpa Archie starred. And then he doesn't even go there and play at all. Because he goes back to college. We'll be right back with Overtime, everybody, with more of your comments. And I even got to the majority of them. We'll be right back here on Game Plus Television and 1700 AM Mission Radio.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Peterson Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Peterson Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Peterson Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Peterson Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Peterson Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Peterson Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Peterson Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Peterson Show.
Famoso, Italian pizzeria and bar. Taste, savor, share. The spirit of Italian. Come in, enjoy.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon
and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge. Big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca. All right, welcome back, everybody, for Overtime. Proudly brought to you by our friends at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary, where they're very excited to tell you they're offering BOGO on their memberships for the time being. I think it's till the end of summer and maybe longer than that. But I know it is a deal right now. $99 for a month of unlimited lane time, BOGO, buy one, get one, or a year-long membership, $999. Think about that. Unlimited shooting, unlimited fun year-round. Now 2 for 1 at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. You met Randy when he was on this show. Great guy. Check him out at 28th Street, Northeast Calgary. I like to say an amusement park for hockey players, because it is. Chad writes in from Lethbridge, Alberta on the Western Dodge text line. He says, "Good morning, RP. Love the new RP show swag. It's an exciting time of year. CFL on the cusp of Labor Day, NCAA and NFL just weeks away, MLB coming down to the wire in playoff races. Oh, and NHL teams putting ice in for the upcoming season. One of my favorite times of the year." You know, it's funny you say that, because let's get real about it. Football is going to dwarf everything here in a couple of weeks' time. It already kind of is. Kenny Nagunst from 806 Texas just saying, hey, Texas is the number 1 ranked team in college football. They're going into OSU in week 1, and they're the underdog. What? Football is going to dwarf everything. And especially where I'm headed back to in a few weeks' time, Florida, hockey is going to be completely dwarfed. But that's part of why our Cats and Bolts podcast is so popular, because the hockey fans down there know that we're hockey first. But we are working our way towards fall, where fall is for football. And Kirk in Toronto writes in. He says, hey, Rod, this is on the Western Dodge text line. He says, too bad about Johnny Football. Thought he could become the next Doug Flutie. Would have been great for the CFL. And he says the Argonauts are in their 152nd year. It's the weirdest thing ever. And I'm not telling any of you Eastern viewers or CFL fan viewers how this has played out. I mentioned earlier how the long-time franchises, Cowboys aren't at 100 years, it just feels like it, but the Rough Riders have been, the Maple Leafs have been, the Canadians have been, the Yankees have been. So they got the deepest fan bases, but also the most brainwashed in a lot of ways. And then you got the Argos, who are literally older than all of them, and their fan bases dwindled to the point of what you see, less than 10,000 per game. I don't get it. I've never lived in Toronto. I can't offer an assessment of why it is that the oldest football franchise on the planet is the least supported. How was this allowed to happen? I don't get it. Because I will say, when I wear CFL stuff around Florida, without question, because it's a football state. You know, when I say CFL stuff, I mean stuff that has the CFL logo on it. I got a lot. Hats, golf shirts, you name it. I wear it a lot. And people say, CFL, Toronto Argonauts. They know. How was it allowed to get to where it got? I don't know. And with Johnny Manziel, you know, that his was, I think, only one season he was in the CFL, 2018. Was it 2017 or 2018? I was the voice of the Riders at the time. And I remember by the end of my time in the league, I didn't go down to the field that often. But I did when Johnny Manziel and the Tiger Cats were at Sask. And he came in with Hamilton. And if memory serves, he wasn't even starting. But I walked by him on the field, and I couldn't believe how big he is. Now, that's what it was. He was a backup with Hamilton. And then by the time we went to Montreal later in the year, he had been traded to Montreal. And it's not like I didn't know this because I've been around sports my whole life, but the Rider players, when he was playing for the Alouettes, they couldn't wait to sack him because the guys all wanted to say, I sacked Johnny Football. And that tells you when the guys that get all the pub, the Manziels, the Bedards, the McDavids, the Joe Sackics comes to mind, they get the opposition's best every single play, every single night, and they still rise to dominance, except for Johnny Manziel, which there's always got to be an exception to the rule, right? There's always got to be one fish swimming upstream, and it's Johnny Manziel. Just couldn't get it together. And unfortunately, there's a whole other story behind Johnny Manziel's time in the CFL that isn't mine to tell, but it's very, very, very sad. Brian writes in and says, thank you, sir. 2 minutes to go. 2-minute warning. Sea Lightning says, hey, Rod, do you know where Duron Carter is these days? I hope he's doing well. Duron is in North Palm Beach, Florida, working for World Financial Group. Duron's fine. Young father. Doing fine. Brian in Regina writes in, he says, Jerry Jones is living in the past, Rod. We may be worth $6 billion, but haven't won a championship in 30-plus years. Hey, look it up, Brian. I think that's $10 billion now. It's like Elon Musk's worth. Every time I look it up, it's grown exponentially. Same thing with the Dallas Cowboys. How do we get that deal for ourselves? Ryan in New York says, hey, I hope everyone in the Rod Squad has a great Wednesday. I'm going to make it great by celebrating 48 trips around the sun tonight. Take care, everyone. Well, how about that? Happy birthday, Ryan. Happy 48th. Be safe with your celebrations, which I know that you will. I think I got through pretty much everything here. Ron in Calgary says, game of the week, Riders versus Stamps. Great show, Major Rod. I mean, it's not even close. It's not even close. What's the game of the week? It's the Rough Riders and the Stampeders, and it's bringing to mind playoff games there, but also tremendous regular season summer games at McMahon Stadium, Saskatchewan, and Calgary. And I think overall, we came out of there probably around 50-50. One loss, but I think the Riders are going to take this one at 8-1. But we got to watch, right? We got to watch. And will it be sold out? It's going to be darn close. So we'll be talking about it more with assembled guests. Scruffy's going to be with us. Thanks to the crew today, Kenny Nagunst, Kevin Hughes, producer Corey, and all of us, business manager Joe. Follow our social media channels. Do us a solid on that. We'll see you back here tomorrow on Game Plus TV, streaming live in 1700 AM. Mission.
Now I'm the whore and the pimp. That's where the money is.
How about that?